I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like episode 7 and episode 8. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and this is going to be the Starkiller based mock build series update number 26, and this is a big one, this is a huge one, this is the moment I hope a lot of you have been waiting for. As you can see behind me, there has been a pretty big change of scenery. We have flipped Starkiller base around, and we've actually started work on the hangar. I'm super excited to show that off to you guys. There was no live stream this week, so no super chat donors to point out, but I do still urge all of you to join the live streams whenever I have them. It is a great way for you to not only see the mock early, but to also hang out with some boyos. It is a great time all around. But yeah, this week we got, I feel so much done. I realized that I'm actually able to move the mock around a little bit. And you guys will see that when I have to clear off all the minifigs and ships that I had to place for the First Order Army video I did. If you haven't seen that, certainly urge you to check that out as well. But let's stop talking. Let's get right into the video. Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. Count Dooku cut my hand off, he won't get away this time. And killing the defenseless ain't the way of the Jedi. But she told me to do it, I got murder on my mind. 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 I'm talking to the Chancellor cause they asked me to spy. He told me about some... Alright, I thought I'd catch you guys back up on a few things that I've decided. Some pretty important decisions, actually, that I'm glad I finally got figured out. First things first, over on this side, this is basically where the actual landing platform for the TIE fighter is going to be. So you can see I basically just lined up these squares here to make sure that the spacing was correct. I ended up with a big... not really a big, but a little gap right there between them. Not really a big deal. I can just patch that up and just add some supports to basically tile all this off, and the TIE fighter is actually sitting on it. But if you can kind of imagine it, the opening to the hangar is actually going to be basically on this side. And then as we come further back, we get this hallway right here. Well, not necessarily a hallway, but this is basically the wall, and then the hallway would be somewhere above it. And you can see right here from the still in the film, hopefully this is... We'll give you a decent idea of what I'm kind of picturing here. So you can see that the wall would kind of be down here, it'd come up, and then there'd be the hallway, and then the wall would continue above it, similarly to how it is here. So the thing to actually figure out is, of course, the wall pattern, because that's obviously quite important. And what I actually had made, and I've had this for a while, I'm actually super excited to get to show this off to you guys, are these Death Star wall patterns right here. These were made for me by OK Brickworks. He's the same guy who made the first Starkiller base First Order logo that's on the reverse side of the stage over there. But we have these wall patterns here, and that's basically going to be used for this section in here. And what I really appreciate that he did with these was, and this is something I actually requested, was for him to actually kind of randomize the light patterns. As you can see, this is the standard full light pattern, but in the actual lights here, you can see it's kind of random. Some of them are either turned off or just non-existent there. So I kind of wanted that to be persistent throughout my mock. So I had him make me up a bunch of these, and I'm super excited to actually use these in the build. They basically just apply right to the back of this piece, which is nice because this is a piece that's on the pick-a-brick wall, so it was not difficult at all to get these in a decent quantity. He also included this diffuser paper right here. It's basically a bunch of white squares. I don't even know if you can tell. Maybe if I hold it up a little bit. So these are just a bunch of white squares that are slightly translucent. And basically what that does is give you, I guess, a more full light effect. If you imagine, if this just was applied right on top of the clear window and you shine the light behind it, unless you had just a very bright and full looking light, it wouldn't give you, I guess, the trans white look that these lights have. It'll make a little bit more sense once I actually apply it, but hopefully for now you guys can get a bit of an understanding what I'm referring to there. In terms of the actual pattern, what I actually got figured out was this right here. It doesn't make a ton of sense as you look at it right now, but for me, the way this actually works out, and I didn't want to build too much before figuring out what this pattern was. That's why this is so simplistic. But the red bricks basically just represent a solid wall. The dark gray bricks actually represent this pattern in the wall. So not the Death Star pattern, but there's this other pattern that I'm going to have to replicate right there. So that stripe right there, or those 3 stripes rather, are something that I'm going to have to build. And I've actually already done that. I actually did this quite a while back, so it's nice to see all this work finally being able to get used. But that's the pattern that I'm going to be using for this section in there. And of course, I'm going to have the lights at the bottom. But that's basically what's going to go right here on this section of the wall. And then we have the Death Star wall patterns are going to be these clear sections right here. And then we're going to have another one of those stripes right here. And at the very back of the wall, there's going to be another Death Star wall pattern. And then it'll basically end right here where that base plate ends. And there'll be like some sort of rock wall built up there. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit better of an idea of what we're working with here. If you're kind of wondering where exactly this is going to be, this is basically going to replace that section that's right up against the stage over there. I'm working on it right here because it's easier for me to like access it and sit right here and work on it with things right in front of me, as opposed to trying to stand between the tables over there and work on it while it's placed right there. So those 3 base plates right there are going to go. It's going to be replaced with this whenever we make a decent amount of progress on it. And we'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and start building up some wall patterns. Let's see what this looks like. So I've got quite a bit of work done. I built up, I think, 12 of these like pattern strip sections right here. So those are on either side. And then of course we got the light patterns down the middle. I tried my hardest to get them aligned perfectly. You can see in some areas there's some white peeking through. I did talk to OK Brickworks. He said that any of the ones that I messed up on, he was willing to send me a replacement for it, which is cool. So a few of these I am actually going to have to replace. Some of them came out fine. Like you can see like those 2 towards the top. That one's a little bit, but for the most part, I actually love the way this looks. I think that that pattern looks so much better than anything I could have done just trying to brick build that. Like there's just no way I would have been able to get the curvature at the top of the pattern. You can see like right there. So that is actually pretty sweet in my opinion. I actually just love the way this looks. I have a still right here of, from the film. You can see Rey's climbing right there. Got the light patterns beside her, and then you can see the hallway that's kind of above her. And that's actually what I've built up here. The floor pattern is actually accurate. That's something you see in the film, believe it or not. So I was able to get that down pretty good. You can also see I have those columns built up right there, and those are kind of represented. You can see there's 1 on either side of the door right there, and I even kind of started that door right there. So you can see there's been a change of scenery. I actually moved this to my Lego room, quote unquote. The Starkiller room is back on the other side of the house, but I moved it in here because I was building a lot with a lot of unique pieces, and I needed these pieces to my disposal and pretty close to me. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is just work on building up more of the walls in there, and then that'll actually probably be our starting point. Oh, one other thing I didn't want to mention is I have a little console built up here too. I actually like that build quite a bit. It's pretty simple. It actually just sticks right on the wall, so you can see this is it right here. Pretty simple design, but pretty effective as a design, I think. And it's basically supposed to represent that console right there in the hall, so it's chilling right there. It sticks to the wall and holds itself in actually pretty well. So let's go ahead and work on more of this wall and get a more complete scene, and then we will see how that looks. And we have ourselves a hallway. Look at that. So I went ahead and built up most of that wall, and I think it looks incredible. I actually really love the contrast between the dark gray at the bottom and the light gray up top. I think it is very, very reminiscent of Starkiller base. You can see we have the scene up here. It looks so good. I'm so happy with the way this turned out. And this hangar section, I already know, I can just tell from looking at it right now that this is definitely going to be something special. You'll also notice I place a lot of the figures to make this scene just look a little bit more lively, and I think it works out pretty well. I think my favorite part is this guy right here. You can see he's walking around, checking his cell phone, not really looking where he's walking, so he's probably going to fall right off the edge of the hallway right there. So either Starkiller base needs to employ some handrails. I think handrails would actually help out in many cases in Star Wars, or this guy needs to pay attention to where he's going. But we'll see how his story progresses as the MOC moves along. Over on this side, we have this guy using the console, so I think that actually looks pretty good. Makes it look like something that's actually supposed to be used, having the guy there actually pressing the buttons on it. And then these guys over here just kind of talking, making small talk like stormtroopers do on the base on, you know, standard day, or what they think is a standard day. It's not actually a standard day. I'm actually really happy with this door design right here. It's pretty basic design. It's not anything too intricate, but I think I did a pretty good job trying to replicate those lines in the door on the still that I got from the film. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's what I got. I also got those red lights up there. One thing that's kind of disappointing, I'm just not able to capture, are the lights like in here and in here. I know in one of the rooms I was able to kind of use some like sticker sheets to cut out some lines to put there, but I mean, it wouldn't work out for this one, especially because the top, you know, is the anti-stud side, and you really couldn't place stickers right there. Hopefully at some point we get some real solution to that. Otherwise, for now, it's just going to look like this. But I do actually quite like the way this door looks. So we just get a full view of what's going on here on Starkiller Base. This is just looking excellent. Like I said, I'm loving those sticker sheets. I think that wall pattern really does just make the MOC. I mean, it makes it just look more like Starkiller Base, you know. This can really just be a generic wall pattern anywhere. This is very clearly Death Star or Starkiller Base. So I love that. I love the hallway sitting on top. And I think that's pretty much it for you guys this week. This was a pretty different update, especially just, you know, we're finally working on the interior of the base, which makes me super excited. And I'm actually quite happy with the progress I got done. This is a pretty large chunk of what the hangar is going to be. So next week, I'm going to basically try to add the layer above this. And basically, you can see from the photo, there's the bottom layer, hallway, and then the top layer looks almost identical to the bottom one, so I don't have to really design anything new. I'm just going to have to go through and and, you know, duplicate what I did down here up here. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Hopefully it works out pretty well. One thing I'm kind of concerned about is just the overhang, because there's nothing supporting the hallway over here. What I'm thinking is going to happen is I'm going to have supports on either edge to basically represent where the hallway would end on either side. And then that should be enough to keep the entirety of the like upper section stable and not coming down on the hallway. I'm going to try my best to also keep it lightweight. Like you can see, even on the back of this, there's not a ton of filler. There's literally just like 3 pillars of bricks back there. So I'm going to basically try to replicate that up top, keep it very lightweight. That way there's not too much weight kind of coming down in the middle section where there's not really anything to support the ceiling of the hallway. But that's going to finish it up. Let's go ahead and go to the end segment of the video. And that's going to finish up the video today, guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the progress so far. I am stoked to finally be working on something that is not that front section of the MOC. I think everything's transitioning pretty smoothly insofar as like flipping the MOC around and working on this side of the MOC, and that makes me really happy because there could have been so many unforeseen issues with that, but I'm happy that it's actually working itself out pretty well. What I've also done is back the entire MOC up towards that wall, so I have a little bit more space on this side, which actually means that at some point I might be able to fit another table in here as we're kind of expanding past the base area into the oscillator area. So hopefully I won't have to be like moving too much of the MOC around after this point. But moving forward, I want to just continue working on that hangar. That's really my main focus right now, especially because I have, I guess, like a pretty good percentage of a wall done. Really just have to duplicate that on the other side and then duplicate it 2 more times for the top halves of the walls. And then, of course, do the base where the TIE fighter is sitting. So lots of exciting things happening with this MOC. I hope you guys are excited to see it as I am. But that's going to finish up the video. If you guys like what I do, go ahead and support this video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.